Welcome back to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for the collective. Know that energy is fluid, rules could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play those karmic themes to help you understand why a person is doing what they're doing, why you're attracting that person into your life, and what other realities would be better for you to actually experience, because there's many different realities that play out at one time. So why would you choose to stay in a reality that keeps you stuck in a place of limitation or disempowerment? All negative emotions are derived from fear. So why would you choose when you can actually be in the energy of love, right? Again, that's our natural God-given energy. It's unconditional love. It's when we are open to receiving. However, we're all born into families and societies that make us form habits and behaviorisms due to perceptions. And eventually, when we get out of those situations that we're in balance, we are bringing ourselves obviously with us and those habits and behaviorisms. And a lot of times when we recreate the same undesirable life experiences, so we have to learn how to do things differently. See, that's really why we're down here, to learn that we're not separate from our creator. And we can do that through seeing our life through all different perceptions. We get stuck in a limited perception due to, again, the environment, to the experience. So again, the readings have a therapy style to them, because when you're dealing with a karmic mate, it's not just yes or no. A lot of times it's yes and no, and that's why it stirs up so many different emotions. And so in order to heal, you really have to not just integrate the spiritual lesson, but you have to transmute the negative energy, and that's by embodying a whole new consciousness. And so these readings are designed to help you do that, I mean, because who wants to keep attracting the same experiences, right? We don't. All right, let's see what the underlining energy is. The first card out is the Genius. And I'm going to pull another one. Impatient. Well, I feel like you're in this, what's really dictating the energy is you. And the reason why is because you are in the creative genius mode, which is you're co-creating. You again are lost in your passion. You're being led by the higher self. And the higher self is the God part of self, that when you are creating yourself, it's a natural unfoldment process. And you're led intuitively. And so you are really on a high vibration right now, and this person doesn't feel your energy anymore. So you've been in separation from somebody that I feel like they thought that you were going to come back, that you were going to cave. You didn't. What they're seeing is that you're probably never going to, because they feel like a disconnect. They feel like you've cut your energy. And that's why all of a sudden they're becoming very impatient, where I feel like they procrastinated, they slow walked it, they weren't worried about the connection. There was a sense of them, like I said, just not being worried. And so let's look and see what happened. So this person is sneaky. They're somebody that's not honest about what they wanted in the relationship, not honest about, like, if they were talking to other people, and then when you would ask them about it, they played dumb when they knew exactly what they were doing. And then they created a lot of drama because they were talking to other people. And so when you ask them again, they got self-righteous, acting like, don't tell me what to do. I'm allowed to have friends, when you knew that they were not leading those other people on. to be friends. They were actually talking them to them, leading them on purposely, and then dropping your name so that, it would create a lot of insecurity. Again, the whole thing was designed. They did it. They rigged it up so that it would trigger that person, that insignificant person that they're talking to, but they're coming on to them like they really want something. They didn't want anything. What they wanted to do was that they wanted to create drama. They wanted to create such an intense environment. And then when you called them out on it, you're not going to see them change. They're going to be self-righteous again, saying that they can't help it. They're going to blame like everyone else except for themselves. Like, when really, this person is manipulating the entire environment. They don't really want to create an intimate type of connection. And when I say intimate, I'm talking about like trust. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about trust. This person, like, gaslights to get what they want. There's a part of this person that doesn't care, that is, will start an argument to get soothed. They don't know how to have a conversation. It's all about them manipulating to get what they want. And then, they're going to play stupid and they're going to cross your boundaries because you're not going to want to be in a connection with someone that talks to other people, that drags other people into the mix just to create an intense environment so they can, you know, maintain control. But in them maintaining control, it's all about you devaluing yourself. So again, over time, it's like it wore away at you mentally and emotionally. That's what you felt like. Because it's like this person wasn't really giving you the time. You felt like ignored, that your feelings and your thoughts and your wants and your desires weren't being heard. This person coming in and out of your life when you know that they're talking to other people, stirring up a lot of trauma, and then knowing what they do and then never apologizing. So it's like it was all about their manipulation and really feeding their ego because they're talking to other people and they don't want anything from those people, but they're stirring up fear in them by coming on to them and then dropping your name. So now they're like, the person that they're talking to wants to build a relationship, the same reason why you're in a connection with them. They know that. They don't want a relationship. They want their supply, they want their ego being fed. That's the thing. So, and that's the thing. This person has too many burdens from the past. So again, that they're now it's like their money situation is affected from those burdens. So they might have been in like a marriage or a long-term connection that fell apart, and this person's finances were affected. So it's like they're reliving trauma that makes them feel inadequate. So they're impulsive. They don't. It's again they want to do what they want to do when they want to do it. They are impatient because that's the thing. They put themselves into a weird competition with you, and they kept putting you in weird competitions with, third parties by dropping your name. And that was all again because they were in competition with you, wanting you to cave into them, where that's not really what happened because you're like, you saw. You're like, this person's not balanced, and they would want you to be in a karmic contract, and where it's all about them utilizing your energy for what they want, and that's feeding their ego. So you got tired of them, kept trying to conform to you, and I feel like I said, that this person has inner child wounds, but you obviously have inner child wounds, which is why you attracted this person into your life because this person like doesn't want to give anything. They'd rather take risks to try to manipulate you, but I feel like they overplayed their hand. And that's why there's major trust issues. and you're like, I don't want to be in a relationship where it's just about sex. It's again, it's the way that this person avoids, and they have a problem with addictions. And so and it just inherited family patterns. So again, maybe their mother or father had drinking problem, uh, avoidant issues. And so it's all about, this person, not wanting their ego to be affected, by them having to really treat you well, in their perception, it shatters their self, their image. They'd rather seem as if they don't care because, again, they have past burdens from a previous relationship. And because their previous relationship didn't work out, where now financially they're affected. So now it's like, again, they don't really care about any type of connection. They don't want that. What they want is, again, someone to feed them, to, again, contribute to the supply that they're lacking. They don't know how to fill up their own cup. They're not happy. They're looking at their life and they're looking at the lack because, again, their marriage or that connection fell apart. It definitely affected their stability. It affected the way that they viewed themselves. And so now this person, like I said, it's all about what you can do for them, which is what a karmic contract actually is. It would bind you to your inner child wound because this person has inner child wounds. It's like you're not your experience. And so the inner child wounds played out as bad relationship, again, lack and loss. But so now they're looking for someone to fix that, and is what because when they were dealing with you, it's again, you were ignored. This person was in and out of your life, so you knew that there was someone else there because where are they going in and out of your life? And they're emotionally and psychologically trying to tell you that there's nobody else. So, of course, you had enough of the gaslighting. And then, they don't know how to have a conversation, but they're going to start an argument and expect you to soothe them because what they know is that they're not feeding the energy. See, when a person's feeding the connection, you're creating intimate moments of trust. That the person was not doing that. If they were doing, they were trying to create a lot of fear, talking to other people, insignificant people, creating triangulation, which is so much drama, unnecessary drama, all for this person's fulfillment, like, oh, like, look how desirable I am. They're creating that weird environment, which is completely toxic. So we can say, what is this person going to do if they're going to do anything at all? And I just feel like they know that they ruined everything, and finances are a problem. They know that they're not good enough for you. So the problem is that this person knows exactly that they need healing. And they know that they're not good enough. They're going to come in and they're going to try and disrupt your life because, hey, they're not happy in their life. So if they can get something from you, that's great. I mean, are you a great catch? Yes. This person can't offer you anything. And that's the thing. So they would just rather, act like this was just a fling, again, because their pride, their ego, because, really down deep inside, this person does feel you. It's not like they don't, but they pull away because they are overwhelmed with all the things going on in their life. And again, the lack, the limitations, like, again, the relationship from the past. I mean, this person created a lot of karma. That's what it looks like. And they're in the midst of that karma. So they're like, I can't offer you anything, but if you want to come in and rescue me, you want to come in and help me, then of course they're going to be open to it. Of course, they're going to try and manipulate things to get what they want. And that's because, again, they're in a place of lack. It's not that they don't find you incredibly attractive, they do. But it's almost like this person's survival is what's overrunning the situation. And again, there's a sense where you're more confident, so they are intimidated by you, and they know down deep inside you deserve better than them. And that's because they see that they don't really put in the effort. This person knows what they do. But hey, if you're going to be with them and then they're not going to say no, it's like, hey, if you whatever you're going to if you don't know your value, thing is that you do. So they're going to act like, well, then it was just a fling because again, they're going to protect their ego. They're prideful. And so the best that we can say is, why would you attract a person like this into your life? You're a mirror of whom what comes into your life. And again, really resilience, first card out. Second card out is time and attention. Third card out is source. Card out is protection, self-sabotage. And then we're going to do neglect. All right. So how many is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's perfect. So let me get these out of the way. Let me get these out of the way. Okay. So your inner child wounds. I feel like there was trauma. And there was trauma because again, we see neglect. And we see neglect to the point that there was no time and attention that was given to you. So when our parents don't nurture us and they don't put time into us, there's a sense of a lack of bonding, especially if the parent is always angry or busy, then we kind of feel like we're an inconvenience. So I feel like you grew up not really feeling that safe or secure within your, family unit. And it was because, again, there wasn't time and attention, the things that you needed, that emotional support just wasn't there. And so, because of that, a child can't run away. What they're going to do, they're going to go inside of themselves. So, you had a very strong connection to source, to spirit, to the spiritual realm, because that's what children do. They daydream, they go into the imagination land, they get an imaginary friend, and all this is a connection to source, to the spiritual realm. But there was a real sense of not feeling loved and not feeling deserving of love because again there was no time, there was no attention to you, so you never created enough of anything like in the physical realm that was tangible, that it was a hobby or an interest or something that could grow, right? A passion. There was a sense of feeling a very disconnect, and so there was a lot of self-sabotaging behavior. It's because again of not really feeling deserving and then not feeling good enough. Growing up without the parents or that support from the family unit made you feel not deserving. The neglect used to having to do things on your own, but not feeling very secure, not feeling supported, because again, support really actually comes from listening to our higher self, the God that's inside of us through gut intuition, inner knowing, and actually seeing that support when we act on that intuition. But again, when we grow up without the love and support from a parent, we tend to perceive the world as how we were trained to see it through like the family unit, the environment. So again, that perception of again not feeling deserving of, because that was the energy that you embodied, because there was a lack of support, there was a lack of love and guidance. And so again, through no time, no attention, through neglect. It could be because, hey, your family needed to make money. That again, that's what came first. So again, it's seen as abandonment, where again, I'm not loved, I'm not cared about, where that's not true. And again, what happens is that we don't give up. Even though we're not really creating good experiences, we have to actually change our mind and then change the habits and behaviorisms to to create a good life, which is to know that we're deserving of, which is to get a better connection to the physical body, the physical world, because protection comes from, again, listening to the higher self, the God part of self, and then seeing that support within your environment. But if you're neglecting yourself, because hey, that's what you were taught by, again, the family, how much energy they put into you, how much love, time, energy, focus, and money equivalents to love, how much love they put into you. If you were neglected, well, then you were programmed not to. And then not realizing that, you have to be consistent. And consistency takes grounding to create something. You have to go out and find yourself. But if you're so worried that, again, about your survival because you don't feel safe, then you're not creating. You're more worried about your emotional support. And that's what happens. So again, we see why that this person like not capable of really giving. And Spirit says, because you're not really supposed to be in a relationship right now. You're supposed to be creating your life. They came into your life to show you certain wounds, certain blockages that you have that are making you perceive that you're separate from source when you're not. It's that you have to integrate the spiritual lesson, where Spirit says it's all about being on the grand journey, which is where you're at, because all experiences, good and bad, shapes your soul's evolution, that you're learning and you're growing so that you can be different, so that you can, again, really change and create a different life for yourself. Again, through transformation, turning your fears into strengths. As you step into your power, you create profound change, which again is what we're saying. It's again, if no one put time and energy into you and then you didn't, then you're going to think that you're your experiences. You're not your experiences. You're not your things. You're actually what you create. But if you were in survival mode, you didn't create anything. So Spirit says it's all about you going on a grand journey, finding out who you are so that you can really transform those wounds and acknowledge what you have already overcame in life, that you obtained strength, that all those experiences that were made to suppress and repress you actually made you a lot stronger, made you spiritually strong. And that's only because your path is is important. It's again, it's not an insignificant path. And it's that path is helping you transform. And Spirit says, don't worry about divine timing because that's what's happening right now, and that you are divinely protected. So don't worry about that. This situation was just here to help you balance your body, mind, and spirit by integrating all facets. They brought out those wounds. Now it's time for you to go into uncharted waters so that you can, again, find who you really are. Again, see who you really are. Create new experiences. Take bold steps that take you out of your comfort zone. So again, you can see who you truly, truly, really are. Again, you've transformed. And so the rewards are that is that when you transform, you're able to step into a whole new reality. So go into life because maybe you live too safe and there's not enough experiences and you're perceiving yourself as so small and life isn't really fulfilling you as much. So you were willing to take so small or didn't notice until it was so uncomfortable that you said, no, I'm not going to be any like at all in this situation because again, moving into the unknown was so much more appealing than to be in this suppressive energy because this person is wounded, and that's really Spirit saying wounding will attract a person that doesn't really know who they are, isn't 100% fulfilled in their life, isn't living their best life. would wind up being codependent, which is exactly what this person wants. They want someone to like be their supply, and that's one that would be completely draining and one-sided. So Spirit saying the only option is to take that bold, action into the unknown, and again acknowledge your strength. Again, it was all here for transformation. You got that twice. That this relationship helped you transform certain things that needed to, that fragmented part, to integrate that wounding. So Spirit says, know that you're constantly evolving, improving inward by working on your weaknesses and refining your strengths. Life ensures that you are presented with situations that will help you learn and grow, that you are aware of your progress and you open your wings to light. So again, the universe brought you this to help you fully transmute and transform. It's again the things that needed to, and to force you and to push you into the unknown, which is out of your comfort zone, so you could really see who you are today and not, again, still see yourself as that person that, was weak, but, was also living in situation and an environment that was designed to make you weak. Remember, it's all about understanding who you are, and that the world will always try and keep you down and smush your energy. And even sometimes family will do that because they're spiritually sick. However, you're the alchemist of your life. You do have the potential to fully transform your life. And that's what happened in this story. This story was for you, that you fully transformed your life so you can then expect to live an experience that's more in alignment with your true heart's desire. And that is really how you maintain that vibration of love, unconditional love, which is a high vibration. So you can then attract a person that is also the same. So they're not going to have a problem being open and giving to you, which is inevitably what you want to transform. And you know that because of this person. All right, I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.